NAR President Kenny Purcell's resigned today, only 3 days after the New York Times expose about sexual harassment and allegations rampant through the organization at the National Association of Realtors. Now, this video is not about the allegations. It's not political. It's not even about the National Association of Realtors, myself being a realtor. What this is about, it's about character, and this video is about leadership. Now, here's what I want to caution you of and to remind you of as a leader. As a leader, you are always under a microscope. There's always going to be people watching you, emulating you, but also there's a target on your back. Now, I'm not saying that it's unjust or unfair. I'm just saying that it is a reality. Many times we hear that as the leader goes, so does the organization. So what does that mean for the National Association of Realtors? Well, right now, the entire organization is under scrutiny. So I want to ask you, as the leader of your business, of your family, of your circle, is your organization, your family, your sphere of friends, are they under scrutiny because of your character or your reputation or integrity, or are they reaping the benefits? I know that this is one of the things that my father instilled in me very early on. He would always say, in order for it to be right, it has to look right. I'm actually reading a book right now, Selling the Invisible by Harry Beckwith. And in there, he talks about the idea of we as human beings, we listen with our eyes. So if it doesn't look right, we aren't going to hear what's being said. We're going to hear what we see. And in this case, the visual test with so many allegations was that something isn't right. Now, here's where we are not going to be the judge, the jury, or the executioner on this video. I'm just simply pointing out a few things for us to consider as leaders as we want to become the ultimate goal, right? As we seek to be someone that leads others into a better and brighter tomorrow. So I want to ask you a few questions. First, have you taken a look or checked your integrity? Do you have pillars of success, some non-negotiables that you are not willing to compromise on, regardless of the situation or who's around or who's not around? If not, we found that that's a fantastic place to start. After you have those non-negotiables, those core values, do you have a peer group that's going to hold you accountable, not for performance, but for character, for making sure that you are a person of integrity, that you're always above the board? This is something that I learned early on, that there were just certain people that I needed to surround myself with, and there were people that I needed to distance myself from. Why? Because in order for it to be right, it must look right. Make sure that you have people in your corner who are going to call you out if you are towing the line just a little bit too much, if you're on the verge of making a silly mistake. Even if it's in good fun, you want to have that brother or sister there that's going to say, wait, I think that was just a little bit too far. Maybe a good thing to do would be to have someone in your circle who is directly opposed to you, someone who doesn't see eye to eye. Or as we would say, that devil's advocate, always being the opposition and saying, well, have you seen it from this point of view? I disagree on a number of points, and that might be an ally or an allied position for what it is that you're trying to accomplish. The next thing that I want to remind us of, or to pose to you, is I want you asking yourself, does this pass the eye test, right? If someone who doesn't know anything else, if they look at what we're doing, how would they feel? Because here's a reality that Kenny Parcells and the National Association of Realtors are dealing with right now. Other people's perception is our reality. So I know we say, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Yes, it does, especially in this case, because oftentimes that first perception is going to be the one that lasts. And so now we, as business owners, as we go from owners to leaders, must decide, well, what is the public, what is the consumer, the customer base, or our prospects? What is their perception of me? Is it a positive one? Do you know? Are you afraid to ask? Well, here's what I know right now. I know that the road ahead for the National Association of Realtors is going to be a tough one, but it is going to have to be one where they're thinking intentionally about the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. And I believe that we're going to see some decisions that are reactive instead of responsive. And so as an owner and a leader, I want to ask you, are you responding to what's happening in your world, or are you simply reacting? And the best time to respond is when you are doing either a quality control check or some type of QC process prior to actually having issues come up. So maybe you know where your weaknesses are, maybe you don't. I would encourage you to go in and do that self-assessment. Say, what am I good at? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the threats to this empire that we're trying to build as entrepreneurs? Is your character one that's built on a solid foundation? And if it is, then we want to make sure we do everything we can to keep our character intact so that we won't have those moral flaws, those moral failures that might cause our empire to come crashing down. Remember, I love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time I see you or you see me, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.